Members, frankly, I don't know why we're not voting on this today. We've had more hours of discussion about this than any subject I can think of, including the budget, since I've been serving on the City Council a total of 10 and a half years. You know, you talked about the difference between political will and political will catching up with the law, or the law catching up with the political will. I mean, if there were a legal use for non-ill people, I would probably support it. You know, I don't have a problem with I don't have a fear of marijuana being a danger to society from the perspective of you know, causing harm to society physically and even mentally. I think, you know, that time will tell that eventually we'll get there. But we are implementing the law, and under the law, the current way that we establish a program is not legal. So we've got to deal with that. At the same time, our community plans have to catch up with the political will. And our community plans are 20 years behind. I don't ever expect them to catch up with the political will, and certainly we don't want to design them around the issue of medicinal marijuana or marijuana in general, but we have to take it into consideration. I can tell you that we have other controls on land uses besides the ordinance. So if there is a warehouse that wants to be proposed in some area, we can take into consideration the traffic flow and the mitigations that are necessary if they want to put that kind of operation. So there are other ways that we can control that kind of proposal. So I don't think this is the be-all and end-all. But where I draw the line is I in no way, shape, or form want to change the definition of sensitive uses. And we voted to keep it 1,000 feet away from schools, libraries, and the other sensitive uses. I've said I don't have a problem with excluding, reconsidering the inclusion of residential in the sensitive uses, because I'm fine with 500 feet. But to go beyond that goes too far. And I think we'll have ample demonstration projects if we have the 500 for residential and a 1,000-foot limit. You know, it's really interesting. I talk about my Sylmar office and how there's a medicinal marijuana dispensary underneath my office. People tell me all the time that my Sylmar staff is much more happier these days. I don't know why. But the fact of the matter is, I recognize that with the limits that I mentioned, that establishment will not be there. That doesn't mean that it can't go someplace else in Sylmar and make other people happy. But the reality is that we can't just look at this as a map. And you talk about shared responsibility. Give me a break. We've gone a long way to give these people what they want, and for us to now be in a position where we have to do it. Excuse me, I don't think we have to do it. We're doing it because the law has changed to the extent that there is a feasible consideration for this. But we don't have to do this. And so there, excuse me, we don't have to do this. And be careful here. Be careful. You don't want to take support and slap it in the face. So we have to be responsible with it. And I say that the 1,000-foot limit, the 500-foot, the consideration is how far should this be from children? How far should this be from a library? So you can't just look at it at a map and say, well, there has to be these many uses. I don't want it 1,000 feet from my kid's school. Period. And I don't want it 1,000 feet from any other school. Period. I don't want it 1,000 feet from a library. Period. So we should be firm on that and move forward. I don't know why we're delaying this. We're not helping anybody by waiting another month. I really think we should vote on this, and I would recommend the 1,000 feet on sensitive uses, 500 feet on residential, and I think that would provide us a sufficient demonstration project until the next generation of laws change and allow a more extravagant use.
Mr. Alarcon, is that a motion?
Sure.
Is there a second on that motion? The motion is to 500 on the residential, 1,000 on sensitive uses.
No, that motion, that's a standing motion, isn't it? Those motions were already introduced. I know my motion was already passed.
All right, that is already on the record. Miss.